The new film Dune, it is based off a book of the same name. And while I don't know much about the characters, this is an amazing film to say the least. Everything about this film is what you want. And if you're a fan of the Dune book, then you're going to be a fan of this film as well. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, this movie, like I mentioned before, is based off the 1965 novel of the same name, and where basically it is a war on the planet Arrakis between two groups, and well, that's basically the whole entire film, but there's so much more in that. I love this film. I think it's generally great. The visuals, the scope, the ambition, the costume designs were lovely. And the music done by Hans Zimmer. That guy certainly knows how to make some epic movie scores. And I've been a fan of that guy for so many years. And not just that though, the cast of this film is just awesome. You have Timothy Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Zendaya, Batista, and a few others. And man, how about Stefan Sagar, who plays Baron? He was menacing every scene he was in, but I want to see more of his character. But I feel like this film is incomplete. Like, it's part one, and they had decided to split the movie in two parts. And I'm kind of hoping that part two gets greenlit. So as of this recording, there is not a part two right now. I'm optimistic. I hope it happens. Now, for the record, I have not read the book before. I have not seen the 1984 film either. So I can win this completely blind. Like, the only footage I really knew of this film was the first trailer I looked at, and this was like one of my most anticipated films of the year. Generally, this is such an epic odyssey. It reminds me of Star Wars, even though it doesn't take place in space. It takes place on other planets, and I really admire that. But one thing I will say, Zedaya's not in the film as the trailer is led you to believe. She's barely in the movie. She does show up, but it's not that much of a larger role. But man, hats off to the cast. The acting in this movie is fantastic. And I was just left wondering how I never seen the original 1984 film or read the book. But after seeing this movie, I feel interested that I want to read the book and watch the 1984 film. I would highly recommend you check this film out because it is really entertaining. Timothy Chalamet and Rebecca Ferguson, it's basically both those characters' story. And I was also invested in the other characters, such as Duncan, who is a badass in a few scenes. No spoilers, but I really like that character. And not just that, the epic storytelling is like on the level of Star Wars or Game of Thrones. That's what this movie reminded me of. And hats off to the director. I only ever saw two other films of this director, but now I'm invested to watch more of his work and to read the original sci-fi novel and watch the 1984 movie. Like, I want to get invested with more of this, characters before part two happens, which I hope is a done deal. It is not official yet, but I hope Dune part two happens because we have to see how this whole story ends. And well, if you're a fan of the book, you probably know how it's going to end, but the thing between movies and books, they're not the same medium. One thing I will say is that this is easily now one of my favorite films of the year, and I'm glad I watched it after it had been delayed for quite some time. I'm giving this film a 9 out of 10. This is such an amazing work of cinema. Like the storytelling, the acting, the visuals, everything I mentioned before, it all comes together to make a complete movie, despite the film ending on a cliffhanger. Now, I will mention that this movie is pretty much for everybody. If you're not a fan of the book or the film that came out back in 1980s, it is some good storytelling. The story is well paced, and this film kept me engaged all throughout it. It was detailed. I love how they did the politics in this film. And this is certainly a very intelligent movie. And that's my review of the film Dune. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this film if you have seen it. Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.